Yes, Iceberg's the name.
You also recently worked with Maino, another on another single called the Purge or the
The Purge.
Purge. I'm sorry, I cannot read today.
No, you good, bro.
What's the backstory on the single, and what is it? What was it like working with Maino on the single?
Well, the Purge record came about just dealing with modern times. Actually, I was in the studio at the same time. We started seeing these things about, the COVID situation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stay home alerts and things like that. And, everybody was just so unsure, you know what I'm saying, of kind of what was going on. You know what I mean? People's jobs were shutting down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People was, getting let go. So it was just one of those particular moments where I was just basically writing, how I felt and kind of what I was seeing of our modern day time. I ended up doing the track, and I was like, man, I got to feature somebody who can embody
Mm-hmm.
this same type of, this same type of emotion and, same type of vision that I got. So I reached out to Maino, and I was like, big homie, I got this record. I think it's fire. He was like, send it to me. I sent it, sent it to him 24 hours later. He ended up hitting me back. He sent it through, and the record became a smash, man. It's super dope.
You know when they hit you within 24 hours or an hour after you send it, you know it's a good one.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
um, Obviously, you said that you've been working during COVID, but Arizona just recently opened back up fully. I know Texas is
Right,
starting to get there too, but you guys kind of opened before everybody else. I mean,
right.
fully open. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? And how are you gonna? I mean, obviously, we're still in. There's still danger out there. So, how are you gonna try to, quote unquote, I guess I don't want to say slither, but kind of ease in the cut. I guess you could say while this is still going on.
Right. To me, actually, man, like, I'm still taking the necessary precautions, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Even though that they've opened up the state a little bit. I mean, we're not fully open yet. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, there's still some stipulations and things in mind. But for me, man, like I'm still kind of keeping it in the house, keeping my social distance. You know what I mean? Doing everything from Zoom and doing everything from the phone.
Mm-hmm.
One of the unfortunate things about Arizona, our numbers are still going up each day. I don't even think that we've hit a curve. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary in my eyes. As far as working, I've been still working through this whole COVID situation. I was fortunate enough to place a studio within my home.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my management and PR team, you know what I'm saying, have been reaching out, to outlets like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
the radio outlets, to keep working, from Zoom and the phone. So, truthfully, man, like I said, I'm not fully convinced that everything is okay. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still keeping my social distancing, but also within the same amount of time, I'm still bumping down working as well, trying to keep hot product out there in content, consistently.
I know Texas opened up. We got. I mean, we got. I don't even know what our case number is now. It's just like you said. The curve is not stopped here at all. And
Right,
I know Atlanta got first day got 1,000 hits. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it's crazy. But people want to go out. And leave at your own risk. I guess you could say.
Exactly. And again, like I said, man, I'm taking still every necessary precaution um, to just make sure that I'm protected and people around me is protected as well.
Exactly, exactly. You also have a full fledged project coming out at
Yes.
some point this year called Highly
Yeah.
Favored.
Yeah.
How many singles are going to be featured on that project?
Truthfully, I ended up recording like a solid amount of records. So some of the records that have already been released, Overdose on Air Against the Purge
Mm-hmm.
record, those records actually won't make the project.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I do got an official single dropping in early July featuring Rick Ross called "Can't Knock the Hustle," which would be the spearhead single leading off of that project called "Highly Favored."
Mm-hmm.
It is an EP. You know what I'm saying? It's about 10 records on there. Like I said, I got Rick Ross on there. Got a R&B guy named Vito on there.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bellinger on there. So I got a good body of work. Like I said, man, I just hope that come July, everybody, embraces it as much as I am. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you answered my next question of who you're going to be collaborating, who can we look forward to. So that takes care of that.
Man.
You have also appeared on the late night show with David Letterman
Right.
in the past, along with the game, obviously in the
Right.
past. What what was that experience like being on the platform for the first time?
I always tell people always ask about the relationship with me and Game, and like I said, that's my big brother. I always will feel indebted to him because he gave me the platform, to be known on a national level, global level. Even at that, man, you know what I'm saying? He, really gave me an understanding of how to put a great body of work together. You know what I'm saying? Help me, cadence myself and help me really, really fine tune my own voice. You know what I'm saying? Fine tune my own lane. So, shout out to the game. But being on that particular platform, it was excitement. You know what I'm saying? It was an experience that, one, I will never forget. You know what I mean? And two, it's just a motivation to be able. It's a motivation to want to reach that level as my own solo artist. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people all the time, like one of my biggest chips on my shoulder, one of my biggest motivations is a lot of things that I've experienced in this industry, you know what I'm saying, was off the back of my big bro. And like I said, I don't take none of that for granted. I respect it. I appreciate it. I'm humbled by it. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there will be a better feeling to, one day wake up and hang my own platinum plaque that got my name on it, my company stamp, and my brand on that. You know what I'm saying? To maybe one day having the opportunity to walk out on one of these, late night shows with Jimmy Kimmel or, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like the motivation is to be able, for me, Richie Evans and my company, the Evans administration, to achieve that level of success and hopefully attain those levels of accolades.
And most likely give back the way that everybody else has when it came to your career as well. I'm assuming as well.
Exactly. For certain. Like I said, even right now, man, there's a few little minor. There's a few artists I'm looking at right now. I got one that I got up under my belt. I ain't gonna name it just yet. I'm saying he still got to put in a little bit more groundwork, but it's dope. But yeah, like I said, man, I'm just trying to build something. You know what I mean? To get to that plateau and also give back. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Let me ask you this: knowing that you have an artist underneath you, I mean, a lot of this doesn't really get talked about a lot. People are signing artists and then they get mad. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and it seems like they always blame the parent company. But you can pay all the money in the world for all the promo and stuff like that, but if you don't have the actual grind, and that you can elaborate on this, you're not going to make it. You could have Jay behind you, but if you don't have that grind, it's not going to work, right? I mean, you can take off from there.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I'm saying? I think that one thing a lot of people fail to realize, about this music industry is it's still a business and it's still a grind. At the end of the day, you can have, just like you said, you can have the biggest record in the world. You can have Jay behind you. You can have whoever behind you. But, if there's not a real precise outline, blueprint, plan of execution, you know what I'm saying, somewhat of the financial resources there and the grind to do it, you're not going to be there. You know what I mean? It's not going to get you where you want to go. I think that it takes a fine line of a few different variables to get an artist to where they want to be. And like I said, that goes with putting in the work, musically and making sure that you have stellar music. That's also making sure that you're able to do the grind, you know what I'm saying, from night in to night out, doing, radio interviews, blog talk radio interviews, you know what I'm saying, phoners, Zooms, on, even online, articles back and forth, you know what I mean? Going out there high-fiving and kissing babies, showing your face, and really working your product. If there's not a burning desire to want to be great and put the execution behind it, I don't think that that's going to happen for any artist.
I got you. From an artist perspective and obviously a businessman's perspective, I asked Mark Cuban about this maybe a couple prior to this pandemic, right? I asked him,
Right.
why do you see your? I mean, why do you feel it's necessary to talk to anybody? It doesn't matter what their status is, etc.
Right.
He said
Right.
because I'm also evolving as my company evolves. If I don't evolve and allow people that are coming up to talk to me, if they're in front of me, you know what I mean. I would allow, I'm not growing as an owner. What are your thoughts about that being an artist? That when you were coming up, obviously you're taking all the interviews that you can, right? But
Right.
what are your thoughts about that when you hear people say, like, I mean, you've been at events and people have tried to reach out to people, and it's like, I can't even get a hold of you, can't get through your people, et cetera, because they don't think that
Right.
the platform is big enough. What are your thoughts about
Big
that?
enough. Right. You know,
And it's not the artists; it's the actual people that are around the artists.
right. I'll use COVID for an example. You know what I mean? I think that COVID has humbled a lot of people, professionally, musically, athletes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that it really opened up a view and vision that, we all, as whatever we do, have to have some humility with these particular type of things. I think that me personally, my thing is, right, I never feel I'm too big for anything at this point. It's not like I'm not, hey, my man from SunTrust interviews wants to give you an interview, and you look on their thing, they only have five followers or whatever like that, but that necessarily doesn't matter because that's the follower that you're building for your legacy. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Success isn't overnight. It isn't overnight. It takes a bunch of small wins, to win the championship. You don't win the championship just off of one game. Like, there's a whole season. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I think that Mark hit it right on the nail. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all need to embrace and respect and appreciate anybody who has an interest or understanding or belief in what our business venture or personal personal stature is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people won't get that, you know what I mean? Because even to this day, I mean, I still go through that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they be like, well, he's all right, he's got a buzz, but he's not at Fabulous level yet, or he's not at Nas level yet, so we're not going to give him the highest, the highest platform. But that still doesn't stop me from trying to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you know what? Some people don't even think Fabulous has hit his peak. He's one of the most underrated rappers in the game, and he's been in the game for almost 20 years.
For sure. Agreed on it. I still don't think that he gets the respect or due that he deserves. I think that Fabulous, has a great body of work and history of work, for all the years. So, yeah.
Obviously, you've been in the game. I mean, you've been in the studio with Game, and you most recently were in the studio. Well, you've worked with Kendrick. I don't know when you laid that track, but if you were in this if you were in the studio with Kendrick, can you explain how they approach each project differently? I mean, like
Right.
how they approach projects differently as artists.
I'll start with Kendrick, for an example. I've been in the studio with him a few times.
Okay.
Like I said, he's a friend. You know what I'm saying? He's a friend, first and foremost. Kendrick has always been one who has always been ahead of his time musically. But one thing that I say about Kendrick is Kendrick really has belief in himself. Like, he has a lot of self-belief. Even when, the odds are like against him. Kendrick came out not just your typical rapper. If you look at Kendrick's biography of work, you know what I mean, he's always took a left field, not a right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's always went against the grain, but he's went against the grain because he just has so much belief in himself. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about Kendrick. The thing about Game is low-key a little bit different. Don't get me wrong, he's super confident and arrogant, with himself as well. But Game is the artist where he's fine-tuned to create a body of work that he's lived through. Game's, very emotional driven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he really he puts himself in like it's like an actor, for an example. You know what I mean? You know, you take like Heath Ledger, for an example, where, you know, he had to play the Joker, where he had to embody all of those rough emotions and feelings to you know, become that. You know what I'm saying? To really bring it to life. And Game is somewhat similar. You know what I'm saying? He really embodies everything that he's went through within his life, and he just submerges the pain and then puts it all out on paper. But both of these dudes are great MCs. They both have a different approach, and they both execute, you know what I'm saying, their visions, you know, to the world through music.
Okay. And then, how do they approach? I mean, obviously, I got to get the other half of it right. The differences of how they approach projects as far as their craft goes. Similarities. I'm sorry, similarities.
I mean, one of their biggest similarities is they both from Compton. You know what I mean? So they both have that motivation of Compton. Compton, was brought to light from, Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Both of them guys were signed to Dr. Dre, and one thing that I both can say is Dr. Dre instilled a great work ethic in them. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre is one of the few artists who has two classic albums that will forever be in hip hop history. That's Chronic and Chronic 2001. Despite NWA and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, for them too, man, they just both came from a stable of the Doc. And, You know what I'm saying? The Doc has really helped form their careers and their work ethic to where they both are now, and it shows.
Obviously, I mean, Doc's still working, but you don't hear about it as much. Have you thought about trying to get in the studio with Doc and create a masterpiece?
For sure. Well, one of them for sure is crazy because my label rep, actually, his name is Mike Lynn. He was the president of Aftermath. He co-owned Aftermath with Dr. Dre.
Okay.
He was the one who, signed Eminem, signed 50, signed Game. He was the person who found the artist, got him the contract and the deal, and then handed him over to the Doc to create the music. And the Doc took it from there. So, one of my biggest goals, in my time before it's all said and done, before I hang it up, is for sure to make sure I get a record from the Doc.
Okay. Obviously, I was doing some research. I saw that you were in a photo with Fab, who's another, people know him, but like he's still one of those, hidden gems, right?
Right.
Do you have any plans to work with him at some point, or have you guys been working?
I've reached out a few times. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm trying to make sure that I find the right record for him. You know what I'm saying? One thing about me when it comes to having features, I want to make sure if I do reach out to an artist to jump on a record, I want to make sure that they give it the extra wings that it needs to take off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to create and find the right record that would really embody that type of collaboration, but for sure, it's going to happen.
Okay. I guess since I just asked about Fab, could that collaboration also, could we possibly see him, you, and another artist by the name of Dame Dollar at some point?
You know what? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I'm trying to put it together, but yeah, it can happen.
I know Dame said that he's willing to work with anybody if it makes sense. So I mean that's better than that's better than what some artists might say. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
I guess next question: who are the top 5 artists that you would like to work with that you've never had the opportunity to be in the booth with?
For me, like I said, it's a little bit different. I'm gonna say Nas. I'm gonna say Nas. I'm gonna say LMA. I like LMA. I always wanted to do a record with her. I'm gonna say you know what? Some people may look at this different, but I also want to jump in with French.
Montana?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, I think Montana will give me that bounce. You know what I'm saying? He'll give me something I'm kind of missing.
Okay.
I'll say Montana. I'll say I want to say Usher.
Okay.
Be Breezy, and I would have to say.
You said T Breezy or C Breezy?
Yeah, Chris.
Chris Brown?
Yeah,
Okay. That's five.
And I would have. Let me give you one more.
I got you.
And I would have to say Fab.
Fab.
I need that. Fab.
I got you. You mean Mr. Fab or Fabulous?
So Fabulous. Fab.
Okay.
Fab.
You know how we gotta clarify when it comes to these audio interviews. People, he said this. Nah, he said this.
Yeah. Fabby Davis and Mr. Fab. You know what I mean? Two legends, but they both go. You know what I'm saying? They both
Exactly.
I'm dealing with both of them, so that's love.
Most artists use their platforms to branch off into other ventures. Obviously, you said you have your label, but
Right.
are there any other business ventures that you would like to explore in the near future?
Yeah, for sure. You know, one's the restaurant business for sure. You know, of course, you know what I'm saying, clothing and fashion. And, you know, the two other little things. I mean, you know, I wouldn't mind jumping behind the camera from time to time to get that active, you know, that active position as well too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know the way out of it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get to the check. It makes sense for the bad, and it makes sense.
It makes sense. I'm with it.
I'm with it.
Final question. You're a big fan of the late Kobe Bryant. I am as well. How do you feel that he was able to uplift the culture during his time compared to, say, a LeBron James or Kevin Durant? Because I feel like people forget what Kobe did. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of say Jordan, and then they just jump to LeBron and KD.
LeBron. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I had that discussion the other day, and I hated it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, you know, the closest thing to Michael Jordan was Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank. Kobe was an icon. Like, don't get me wrong, I love LeBron. I think LeBron is doing a lot, not just for basketball, but just doing a lot, you know what I mean, for you know, African American men, you know what I'm saying, putting us all in a solid spotlight. But, you know, Kobe did a lot too, you know what I mean? I think that, you know, the one stain that people can never let go was, you know, the whole rape case charge and things like that. But I always got to, you know, go back and enlighten, he was acquitted of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like, you know, he went to jail for anything or anything, you know, of that magnitude. But, you know, Kobe was an icon, man, and I hope that through this time, as people start reflecting and appreciating him now, I just hope that, you know, for a long time they keep his name, you know, relevant. You know, I think sometimes people try to close the door on him fast. And it trips me out. Like I said, they go straight from Jordan to LeBron, and then, you know, KD and
Kawhi and
Kawhi. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, y'all better stop acting like this man wasn't a real life assassin out here on this court.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this man broke numerous spirits. You know what I'm saying, with these last winning points. But nah, man, Kobe was a major factor to me growing up. You know what I'm saying? You know. I like Kobe so much because he just had a mindset that was so strong. You know, nothing broke him. You know, even when all odds was against him. You know, I remember when he lost every endorsement to that situation. I remember he went to every arena, like everybody booed him. Like they loved him at one point, but then everybody booed him. I seen that man stay mentally solid.
Exactly.
Go back to every arena, torch everybody 60, 80, night in and night out. You know, got back into the good graces of, you know, America. You know what I'm saying? Won championships without Shaq when he was getting criticized, and got all of his endorsements back. and you know what I'm saying, became to be, you know, the family man that everybody sees now. I'm like, come on, man, that man was something special. So, you know, all out to the cold, but he was a major factor in my life for sure.
I remember somebody shared the story as somebody brought up his old Crazy Eights from Adidas, right? He was like, bro, I'm not with, I don't mess with Adidas. He threw the shoes. He's like, if you got some Nikes, I'll sign them.
Yo, did you know that there was a period where he was going to sign with Reebok, and they made the questions for him with the number 8 on the back?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's a limited edition pair of questions that were green and white.
Okay.
And actually, there's one that the sample was green and white. They got the number 8 on the back, and then they got the Laker version, which is white and white and purple with the yellow 8 on the back. And made those questions like Allen Iverson's, but with the number 8 because they was trying to pursue him to leave Adidas to come to Reebok and end up switching over and joining Nike. But them shoes is rare, man. You should try to look for them. They solid.
They solid? Okay. Are they comfortable? Because you know his Crazy Eights were messing up people's ankles. People injured for life because of those.
Man, I don't know all that, but you know, at the end of the day, I do know that them questions were the exact same ones that AI had, but they just put the number 8 on the back, and those were comfortable to me back then. So. Yeah.
Okay, because I know that, I mean, there's only been a few people, but if you go down the list, there's a lot of people in 3 stripes that have ankle injuries. You know what I mean? Derrick Rose is one of them. Derrick Rose, Brandon Roy. I mean, you know, if you go do the list.
Roy was it back in the day.
Yeah. I'm originally from Seattle, so I know all about B. Roy and these guys too. That's my cheat code when I'm in the locker room with these guys too, by the way.
Real life.